Good evening, good afternoon, good morning. Welcome to Social Media Fridays, episode 92. Each week we meet here to discuss what happened this week in the world of social media. Items of interest are posted on the Social Media Fridays on Google+, the Social Media Fridays community on Google+. And you can post your own topics. You can join us here on the panel. With us tonight, we have Edwin Jonk. Edwin is CEO of IDEST in the Netherlands. You can find Edwin on idesthost.nl. Masataki Wasa can be found at wasaweb.net, wasaweb.net. Masataki is also a Google top contributor on the AdSense and also the Google Plus Help community. Mahaya Bhagat is a human resources specialist and social media queen from New Delhi in India. And Tim Capper is CEO of onlineownership.com. You can find Tim at onlineownership.com. He's also a Google top contributor on the Google My Business community. All right, our first question tonight is mainly a whine from me. Why is Google Plus favour collections over community? And I said it doesn't make sense to me. It was in reference to the new Google Plus Create, but to my mind, a community is also a collection, or at least can be. I mean, look at Social Media Fridays community, look at SEO questions community or SEO news. All of those are collections, and personally I run Essential Australians, which is mainly a repository for good photography around Australia. Also the Australian Politics Forum, basically a collection of items with a single interest. And I think the community has more features than the collection. I mean, a collection can only be one person, one author, one creator, whereas a community can be multiple, many moderators, many contributors. Anyway, that's my beef. I applied for that Google Plus Create, but of course I haven't had a response. I think this will be like SEO help, like the Google helpouts. That they don't want to see SEO or social media in it. Maybe, maybe not. What are your thoughts?
No, that applying for that, they said on this thing, you already had to have be using collections, multiple collections. Well, I've only got one, so I don't kind of blame them for not accepting my application. That's even if they've gone through the list. How many collections do you run? Do you have?
3, I think, including the KGB one.
Are they doing it outside of the US yet?
No idea.
Well, that could be another factor, Jim.
Australia should be first.
Mate, no.
Quickly the sun first.
Mate, you're on the arse end of the world. You're on the arse. Just stop panicking about it. You're on the arse end. Nothing happens down there. Just chill out.
We're 19 hours ahead of Seattle. We knew who won the election almost a day before everybody in the US.
What are you on about? You're on the arse end. Just get over it and
Well, what do you think about that? I mean, what do you think about their definition of a community and a collection? You know, and why do you think that they are going so hard to exclude communities? You know, the communities aren't a tab on the navigation.
Yeah, because, well, I'm just going to assume because collections are just images and posts as such. It fits nicely into the mobile version that they're trying to streamline. I don't know. Collections don't need the support of Hangouts. They don't need the support of, you know, algorithms to catch spam, blah, 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 blah. I don't know. It could be a multiple of reasons.
So Google is being lazy.
Right, mate. They're always freaking lazy. They're always lazy.
Yeah.
Most of their platforms. I mean, you would think you know, the amount of people that will jump in and go, like, I suppose in different forums and different things, and they'll go, oh yeah, look at this. Oh Google, oh God, come on, Google, sort it out. You know, you're Google. And then you go, well, God, mate, have you only just realised? I mean, one forum's built on this platform, another forum's on this platform, another forum's on this platform, another forum's on this platform. You know, I mean, perfect example, the other day, they took down the forums for maintenance, still serving a 200 code, but, you know, of course, according to Google, we should be serving a 503, you know, look, it's all do as we say and not as we do, and, you know, people have this weird idea that it's like some super genius mega kind of like perfectly streamlined one kind of Google thing that exists. It's not. It's like 7,000 mishy-mashy pieces that they kind of just use duct tape to make them fit together. And when they fit, they work well. And when they don't, flipping hell, you know about it.
And they are not really putting their back behind Google Plus these days, right? So yeah.
Well, there's this yeah, well, there's this new guy. That new guy. I don't know. It's one of these things you've got to wait and see. You know,
well, you flew halfway around the world, and all you got was that T-shirt.
Yes, mate. That's all I got. I had to nick this one and all. Hang on, I've got a notebook out of the stationery cupboard also.
Stop nicking things.
No, I'll just look. I don't know. Google has to figure out what they want to do. I don't think the amount of bitching or moaning that anyone makes is going to make any jot of difference. It's a pain in the ass, but they need to kind of figure out what they need to do. I mean, their car crashed the other day, so I figure, you know, they probably spent more on that car than they have done on the whole Google Plus infrastructure. So if the car crashes, well, you know, what do we expect about Google Plus?
Yeah, the car needs to learn physics, right? A bus is heavier than the car.
Yeah, but the car didn't crash. I mean, someone crashed into it, didn't they?
Yeah, but the car is not meant to do that, mate. The car is meant to predict everything.
The person behind the wheels thought the car could manage, and so they let the car do their thing, and the car crashed into the bus. And everybody knows that a bus is heavier than a small car. And you normally let them through.
Yeah, going back to communities and collections, though, it is weird that Google seems to be changing its mind every fortnight. In that, with the introduction of the new UI, it stressed both communities and collections. Those were the, if you like, the two wheels on which the Google Plus was going to be based on. But it seems to be that now with Create, the focus is much more on the creator or aggregator or curator, the person, rather than the community. And I think that's, I'm not entirely sure if that's the right emphasis. And to that extent, I agree with Jen, because communities, I think, has a lot of potential. When it is active, it does generate good content. It generates a lot of conversation.
Yeah, the one thing that does worry me though is what they're doing with the business pages. Are they going to separate it out onto the business.google URL? Are they going to kind of merge it into a map sort of thing? I think the reason there's been such a bad uptake on business pages is, they've flipped and flopped around for the last 10 years on names, on how they were integrated. It's just, I just think another change is just going to be like they might as well just give up and just remove it.
Yeah.
Another change will just be like another nail in the head for businesses. Yeah. At the minute, 90% of businesses think it's just some magical thing that appears there, their name and on the side and in the map and things like that. They just think it's some kind of Google magic.
And it is.
Right. Yeah, but the thing is, this is the funny thing, is they stopped auto-generating. As of last year, they stopped auto-generating. So as more and more businesses go online and just think that's some kind of magic that's happened with other businesses, the magic's not going to happen for them because Google's not auto-generating them anymore. It's like,
well, unless the map makers are active.
Yeah. But I mean, a new business that's just opened, unless a map maker happens to land on some guy's website because he was specifically looking for something, then I seriously doubt it's ever going to end up in there. But I don't know.
Yeah, I think
something consistent. Give it a year of consistency, and then.
Yeah, I think what should happen, in my opinion, is that Google ought to separate that social stream Google Plus side of things from the actual information bits. So you go to business.google.com. That's where you organize your opening hours, location, respond to reviews. The things that are highly relevant and only relevant, if you like, to local businesses and organizations. So if that business wants to use Google Plus, then great, they can have a page. So I think this distinction between local page and brand page should go. It should just become a page, which local businesses might want to use. They don't have to, in order to keep presence on the maps. If they want to change their opening hours, if they want to choose their website, if they want to respond to reviews, they don't have to use Google Plus post on it or do anything, adding people to circles, those kind of things. They don't have to do that. So I think if they were to do that, it would make things simpler for businesses because they can just do what they really need to do rather than having to do all sorts of things which they don't necessarily want to do. I mean, businesses don't necessarily want to post on Google Plus, add people into their circles or be added into circles. They're not, they're running business. They're not running a business in order to post on Google Plus. So, what's really needed, what's important for maps, local, and businesses are accurate information and reviews so that you can, have accurate information and you can maintain your reputation. Beyond that, it should be optional. So I hope that's what's going to happen. There's no way of knowing which direction Google is heading, but I think that would be the best case scenario for local pages.
I wonder if Google knew which direction Google is actually going in.
No, of course not. Don't be crazy.
I had to say that. I really, really had to say that.
No way, Jose. They do now for the next 2 months. That's about it. 2 months' time, they'll be in another direction.
Well, I
that works.
think because somebody will be working on a project for a little while, but then they'll get moved to something else.
Yeah, that's called agile, no?
No, that's called producing a baby and never taking responsibility.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
All right. Have we covered the collections versus communities topic?
Mm-hmm.
I'm recording that as a yes. Let's go to the next. Ah, this one. You guys familiar with the Bang Girls? These are robot-generated porn profiles that they join them to larger communities, and then, like, say for argument's sake, a community like the Google Plus Help community, they'll join up, make a post in the community. And actually, Masataki Wasa, you know, in line and verse, how these guys operate.
Yeah, it should be getting better, because what used to happen was that if you had exclamation mark at the beginning of your name, you were listed at the top of the members list in communities. So it's the old telephone book trick, you know, A 111 taxi kind of thing. So that used to work, but now the members list is mixed, and in a new UI you don't have that avatar shown below the community card on the left-hand side on desktop. So, you know, there are fewer occasions where they're posting. There's still lots of spam posts with pornographic images on Google Plus that, you know, communities are still inundated with those. I have a feeling that, my impression at least, is that things are getting better. Google is managing to catch more of those in the spam filter rather than letting them through the communities. But the problems persist because communities are a great way for spammers to reach a potentially large number of people.
I couldn't agree more, because I have seen less spammy people in my profile or in different groups that I join in and see. People in last year, it was like hell. I was getting so many spam invites for groups and communities and pages and communities. But this year, I've seen, from last 6 months, I've seen there's a very, very, less chunk out there. So I do believe they are improving, at least on this scope.
Yes, and if you want to moderate, go to the old version of Google Plus. It's much easier.
Yeah. Pinning a post. Oh no, I'm wrong. Never mind. Ignore me.
I think searching is easier. Or can you search on the new layout?
Search within communities, you mean? Or search?
Yes, search
generally?
members within communities.
I'm not so sure. I don't think so.
No, I haven't looked at it for months because I switched to the old version because the search wasn't there.
And just a tip on searching in the communities, if you're using the old one, you need 3 characters to trigger the search function. You must enter at least 3 characters. So if you put quotes and the exclamation mark quote, that's how you can pick up the Bangirls now, which you couldn't do when they first did it.
I think from memory they were listed above, right? So they were listed first. So that was quite easy. But if they're now mixed, then maybe you have to do those. Then I leave it up to you, Jim. You're the expert. To do all the moderation.
Hardly think so. All right, will we move on from this one?
Yes, please.
Okay. This is Christopher Poole, who has joined Google Plus from a history well, his history is that he was one of the co-founders of the cesspit of the internet, 4chan. And for some reason or other, Google seems to think that he has something to contribute to Google Plus. I don't agree. I think Google jumped the shark when they forced YouTube users to belong to Google Plus. It did, I have to admit, moderate the user group on YouTube. I mean, that was totally out of control. It was just troll after troll after troll. I think that Google Plus had a moderating influence on them, but it also, to my mind, spoiled the sanctity of Google Plus, introducing a whole heap of people who didn't really want to contribute anything intelligent. They were using their comments to have fun. Not that there's anything wrong with having fun, but you know, I think that the essence of Google Plus was lost then. And to now bring in Christopher Poole, who moderated 4chan, which really was the garbage tip of the internet, and still is. Then I think that sort of thinking is wrong. It's a I think he believes that anonymity is the way for people to lead full and rich lives on the internet. But to my mind, it's the anonymity which encourages bad behaviour. When your name is on the line, you act differently. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think you're right. Just to give some background, this interview from Chris Poole, was made in 2014, basically during the height of the Snowden revelations. So maybe people thought it was a good thing back then, but my personal thinking is that it's fine to be anonymous, but if you're going to hurt other people or damage other businesses, then it's then you one's anonymity should be given up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's and sometimes there's a line, right, where is the damage, and maybe a Chinese blogger for the Chinese government, the damage is a little bit lower than for Western societies. And it can also depend between different societies. Maybe in Latin America, gay discussions about gays is more of a thing than in the West, or in Russia for that matter, because it's forbidden there to promote.
Can I go off at a tangent and say that I don't know if you guys had the same experience as me, but Google Plus, with its emphasis on people having a real profile, and I can see that the logic behind it. If Google came to know the internet, they could provide better results. But maybe they found that they couldn't. But for whatever reason, Google dropped that plan. I thought it was a great plan, authorship and so on. I thought it was a great plan, but
well, on Google Plus, you had to use your real name. It wasn't enforced that heavily. I can't remember if there were people sending their driver's license. But those things did happen on Facebook, right? Where Facebook said, "Well, we need your driver's license, or you cannot continue with this profile because of the name."
To block it used to suspend your account for a temporary basis until you upload an identity.
Yes,
True.
yes. And that's a little bit scary, right? For companies like Google and Facebook to have and to have a copy of your driver's license. For me, that should be handled by the government.
Yeah. Real name was impossible to enforce properly. I mean, if you had created a profile in a name that sounded like a real person's name, then the chances are that they're not going to find out. Yet, if you had an odd name, if you had a name, common noun, then you could be in trouble, because the system would pick up on that and say, surely a person cannot be called this and that. So it has, it was impossible to police, I think. My personal view has been that what is important is that there is a consistent identity. It doesn't have to be the real name of the person, but it's a consistent identity the person uses across that particular product. So if you're in Google Plus, you're not going to be be posting as 5, 6 different people, all with different names, but you are posting as one individual, bearing the name that may not be real, but at least there is one person behind that, if you like, a persona that is presented online. Ideally, it's the same person across different services, but I think that's impossible to police. So you might have one account with one platform, and then you have different username, different, if you like, inverted commas, fake name for different services. That's possible. I think the important thing is that there's some consistency, and then the people can look at what you have written, what the person has written previously. It's about that building history. It may be just an online persona, but there's consistency to it. I think that's the important thing.
That's called a pseudonym, right? That's not really anonymity. If people really want to be anonymous on the internet, you're not going to use a pseudonym, right?
No. So yeah. So I think it's about pseudonym. It's about using a name that is identifiable to others as the same person who has written about X, Y, and Z before. And there's a sort of history behind that person or persona. Maybe that persona is not the entire person, but rather a portion of that person decides to present to the wider world on a particular social media platform. I don't mind if that name is real or not, personally. What matters is that you can follow that person, follow the progressions, follow the history, or look back at history and see what that person has written before, so that even if it's a persona, there is a stake, there is importance to it, so that the person who's using that pseudonym will care about what he or she writes under that pseudonym, because in the end that pseudonym is going to have reputation. That reputation is valuable. It may not be linked to the real, natural, physical person with a name, face, other forms of identity. No. But, if you have created a persona online or with a particular service, particular platform, then I think that's okay. Because in a sense, that persona has a personality, has history, has character, has certain views on things, does certain things online. So long as there's that consistency, I'm not dogmatic about what people go by on Google Plus or any other online platform.
Sorry, I was on mute. All right. Do we have anything more on that we want to talk about on Christopher Poole's appointment to Google Plus under Bradley Horowitz? Okay. All right. Well, it's that time again. We'd like to thank you for participating. Your interest in what we do makes what we do worthwhile. We'll be back at the same time next week to do this all again. Don't forget you can post your own topics of interest into the Social Media Fridays on Monday Community on Google+. And but for now, it's good night. Thank